Tom Brady acknowledging in an article nearly as long as the one that was on The Athletic yesterday about the Eagles, the contributions of Julian Edelman to the Super Bowl championships won together in New England. 3 for Edelman, but 6 in all, obviously, for Tom Brady with the New England Patriots. So today's draft, the greatest members of the Patriots dynasty of the past 20 years, not named Bill Belichick or Tom Brady. Chris, you have a trivia question for me that I am resisting the temptation to look down and see what it is.
All right, don't look, eyes forward, Sergeant. Here we go.
Am.
Edelman, we know how great he throws all those TD passes, everything like that. We remember the Danny Amendola one in the 2014 postseason. But who caught Edelman's lone regular season TD pass? Okay, I'll give you some hints because it's not easy. It was 2 years ago. Remember that Philadelphia game Sunday afternoon in Philadelphia? Right? We ran the B-roll of the play earlier in the show.
I wasn't watching the B-roll earlier.
He threw to a receiver with the initials P and D. 3,
Pete Demolitis.
2,
All right.
wrong dummy. No, it was Philip Dorsett. No disrespect to Dorsett. Sorry, Demolitis is the dummy. Sorry.
All right, you get the first pick. Go ahead.
Well, man, okay. I mean, I think the first guy I'm going to go with Gronk. I am. I think Gronk is the guy that I'm going to put at the top of the list as far as most valuable other Patriot. I mean, it's the greatest tight end in the history of football. He was on a team that understood how to utilize mismatches better than any other team in the history of football. And I think with that combination and the fact that the guy was a beast in the pass game, an extra offensive tackle blocking in the running game, and, of course, became Brady's, little, comfortable blanket and guy he went to in a big moment no matter what it was, I think Gronk is the guy. Even though it wasn't a real long career, it was a real impactful career, and I think he made his mark up there for sure.
And look, it wasn't all offense, especially in the early years.
Yeah,
it was defense. Right. And if we're going all the way back to 2001 as we are, I got to go Richard Seymour.
Yeah, good for you.
Richard Seymour was the, you could argue, even more important aspect of those teams than Tom Brady. He was still kind of feeling his way along and establishing who he was going to be as a quarterback. Seymour, heart and soul of the team that won 3 in the first 4 years of that dynasty.
Yeah, that's a great one. And that was one of the guys I was kind of sitting there hemming and hawing about as far as who I should take. He's a Hall of Famer, Richard Seymour. He is a Hall of Famer. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He's unbelievable. That's where stats lie. It's not about the stats with that type of player. I'd like to see, him get in eventually. I think my next one, I'm going to go back to that era too. I am. I'm going to go to Ty Law. I think Ty Law is, another guy I look at and go, well, first off, they don't win the first Super Bowl without Ty Law. Pick 6 to the house, his ability to cover Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt and be, on an island on certain plays and do that stuff. Ty Law was, big time for their football team, let alone he was the guy that they entrusted to, hey, can you stop Marvin Harrison when Peyton comes to town and the Colts and do that type of stuff. He's a phenomenal football player. Another guy that I look at as a Hall of Fame talent. And really, you talk about, there's another defensive guy you could bring up and go, why didn't he win Super Bowl MVP? Why? I mean, how big of a play? It was the greatest offense we ever saw in the history of the planet. And he had a pick 6, and they held him to 10 points. That's still crazy to me.
And I remember that one AFC Championship game where he picked off Peyton Manning 3 times.
Right.
I mean, yes,
right.
he eventually got into Canton and should have, and he was a key member of the defense. The first half of the Patriots dynasty, another key member of the first half of the dynasty, and a guy who was directly responsible with the points generated by his toe, I got to go Adam Vinatieri. I mean, they won those first 3 games by 3 points each.
Right.
And they get into the first Super Bowl by virtue of the kick that was made in the snow globe in regulation and then the kick that was made in the snow globe in overtime. And even though he left after the 2005 season, went to the Colts and was with the Colts actually longer than he was with the Patriots, he's always going to be remembered as a member of the Patriots and his contributions to those those far narrower than we remember Super Bowl victories, they need to be acknowledged.
Yeah, no, yeah, agreed. I wrote him down too. I mean, I'm with you. You know, I mean, he's a part of the fabric of that organization. I mean, ice through his veins, clutch. He kind of he fit everything we thought about them. You know, we just always thought like, oh, here it is, a big moment. Okay, Belichick will call the proper play. Brady will make the proper throw. And Vinatieri will make the proper kick to send you off to your locker room as a loser. See you later. Next contestant up to go against the Patriots. I mean, that's really what it was like. I mean, it was. Man, I'm stuck here. There's some good ones on the board. I mean, there really is. Vince Wilfork, Dante Hightower, Brewski, Rodney Harrison, Stephon Gilmore. I mean, Gilmore is really the guy I want to go to next because I didn't expect. But I got to go with Julian Edelman. I'm going with Edelman. Yeah, Edelman to me he stands for everything that the Patriots are about. Yeah, you know, unknown guy, fighter, finds his way onto the roster. Johnny Tryhard continues to get better and better. Carves out a niche for the football team, you know, and then becomes really awesome at what he does for the football team. You know, I mean, he just, to me, was part of the aura of the Patriots and kind of like what we just talked about. The second life of the Patriots was like, okay, well, Belichick's going to call the right play and Brady's going to make the right throw, either to Gronk or Edelman, and you're going to lose, and you're going to go to your locker room as a loser, next contestant up. I mean, that's just how it felt. Edelman, toughness, special teams, punt returns, trick plays, whatever. He's a Patriot for me all the way.
And, you know, you think of guys like Randy Moss
I know.
and Wes Welker.
I know.
They didn't win a Super Bowl with either guy on the team.
They did not. I feel bad.
Yeah, I mean, they had that 10-year gap between Super Bowl wins. Edelman was there for the final 3. Neither Moss nor Welker were there for the first 3, so I thought about them, but I let them go. I'm going to go back to the first half of the dynasty again, and I know we're conflicted here because he's our colleague, but Rodney Harrison was the guy that really helped take that defense to another level.
Yeah,
and I've been around where you hear the stories about how competitive the defensive players were with each other and how they held each other accountable. On top of Rodney's skill, the thing he brought to the table was just the intense desire to do everything necessary to win football games. And Belichick has lauded Rodney Harrison as the greatest practice player that the team's ever had. And how do you get ready for Sunday? You go out there and bust your ass every opportunity you get. I've heard Rodney tell the stories about, hey, they used to be competitive about hydrating, who could drink their water the fastest, who would drink more water. Everything that was a building block to succeeding on Sunday, Rodney was all in for every single little thing because he knew that every single little thing led to being in position to win on Sunday and ultimately being in position to win Super Bowls, and he got 2 of them with the Patriots. He arrived after the first one, key part of the defense in the next 2, arguably could have been the Super Bowl 39 MVP against the Eagles.
Yeah, no, and I mean, listen, was great on the team that went undefeated and lost to the Giants. I mean, hey, Rodney was amazing. He's all Patriot DNA. There's no doubt about that. You know, we see that with the way he acts. And, you know, added to that, he was kind of the, you know, lawyer Malloy replacement, and that like ended that conversation altogether. But yeah, when he got there, their defense went to another level, and I'm glad you picked him because I didn't want to be beat up by him or have to see you get beat up by him when we get around him in the fall again.
Hey,
so that's good.
I picked him. You didn't. You don't get any of the credit. You had 3 shots. You didn't pick him. I picked him.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.